Good evening, chat, and welcome to the show. Apparently, I heard that YouTube is making a lot of videos age restricted without telling people. And this means that if you have an account that's not flagged to be over 18, then you may not see the videos of your favorite content creator. And this is not done to my channel because I have no idea. I haven't checked. But what I do know is that it's done to side scrollers, apparently Tim Pool, and many others. Now, the reason for this is that there are legislations coming from other parts of the world, very authoritarian parts with governments that enjoy cracking down on its citizens. Parts like Australia, parts like Britain. And so social media companies have to comply with these legislations. I suspect that they actually enjoy the legislations, but that's neither here nor there. The issue is a little bit more complex. Yeah, it's something that I will look into, and I would figure out and then tell you guys what to do if you actually like a content creator and you weren't getting notified by them or you haven't seen their videos. It's because this new system is being just placed, being rolled out. And so what usually happens when YouTube is rolling out a new algorithm is that there's a lot of bugs and kinks to it. And people end up suffering because they end up without an entertainment. They end up with a lack of entertainment, right? Anyway, right. Let's see. What do we got? We got an interesting scandal today with Mutahar. Like, apparently, the scandal with Mutahar is actually older than I found out. But I found out about it today, so it counts. The only reason that I know about Mutahar is that he made videos where he spurred out about anime. Like, he was a very moral individual, right? I looked at him and I was like, wow. Like, no other content creator is as moral as Mutahar is. Like, he is so moral that he's overflowing with morality. He is sharing his morality with other people. That is that... what do they call it? He used the word... Sexualization is the word they used. Sexualization of characters from anime, like My Hero Academia, is very bad, right? Like, he started... And that was the video that I saw. It was the video that appeared on my timeline, and I was like, let's see what's up. And I saw an Indian man lecturing the world about anime, and I'm like, okay. But now, apparently, he appeared again. He appeared again in my algorithm, and he was apparently being accused of lying about his credentials. He said he's a software engineer, but apparently he's a university dropout. And the fact that he was Indian was also mentioned several times. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Is it going to ruin his reputation? Yes. Is it going to ruin his career? No. The funny thing about Mutahar, though, and this is, again, like, just watching it from afar. I'm not a subscriber of him. You know, I'm not going to say that, oh, yeah, I used to watch Mutahar. No. The funny thing about Mutahar is that he claims he's an edgy individual, right? Like, he used to go on 4chan. Oh my goodness, he went on 4chan chat, and that's where he trained for life. That's where he got hardened, you know, seeing all those anime memes and seeing all that shit. Because that's why I found it interesting, like him complaining about anime. It's like, okay, you can complain about anime, but you went to 4chan, right? Like, how did you manage? Like, if it's so immoral to look at that anime girl as a picture, and it's so almost like borderline criminal to have it on your screen, like, why would you go to 4chan? But he did go to 4chan, and all of a sudden on Twitter he's complaining about jokes regarding Indians. And I'm like, how did you manage to be on 4chan? You know, like, it's weird. It's weird, because like, I think my generation is a generation of superhumans, you know, like the ones that the Nazis wanted to train, like super soldiers. Like, we can look at anything edgy, right? Like, if it's violence, we don't care. If it's racism, we don't care. If it's anime, we don't care. Like, our generation, like, if you put us in a torture chamber and you're bringing a computer and you're showing vile images to us, we're like, you know, we can take it. We can take it. But for some reason, Mutahar, being of my generation, he had to leave Twitter because people were pushing racismus about Indians, of all things. All right. So that's the drama with Mutahar. You did software engineering for decades, says Biodiversity. I'm done with it. Well, apparently, Mutahar isn't. Like, he's still uploading videos today. And he said he doesn't care if people are accusing him. It's like, all right, well, it is what it is. Can you become a software engineer without a college degree? I think so. But, like, the way he was framing it, it was implied that he has a degree, right? And the interesting thing is that the way he was caught, like, how did people catch him? Did they go to his town and investigated the university? Like, did Mutahar study here? No. Apparently, the way he was caught is because he made videos where he himself admitted of being a dropout, and then he made videos saying that he's got a degree, he's got a license. And it's like, I see. 27 years so far for me, but yeah, getting tired of it. Everyone is getting tired of it. Can you do a job for 27 years and not get tired of it? Like, apparently I can. Like, I'm still doing content creation, and it's still kind of fun. Hold on. Madame Savi has messaged me. Yeah, so I spoke with Madame Savi, as I mentioned. I want to have her as a guest. And she can't appear today. She can't manifest herself today, but she will manifest herself tomorrow. And so if you tune in tomorrow, it's going to be a collab. We're going to be collabing, chat. And we're going to be collabing with Madame Savi. Now, this one is really nice, right? So, let me see if I can bring it on the screen. Carney defends internet censorship bill. I mean, of course you need to, right? Like, how can you allow an unrestricted internet, right? Like, we have Carney and Sargarovakad in one place, and of course, Collective Shout, right? And they're advocating for a censored internet. And then you have literally everyone else, but it doesn't matter because on their side, they have Carney. And Carney believes that the internet censorship bill is good and Canadians should rely on CBC for news. Huh? Isn't that awesome? Who funds the CBC? Where is the CBC getting money from? Who is saying to Canadians that they should watch more CBC? You'd think that there may be a little bit of a conflict of interest. It's kind of like Microsoft, you know, if they had their own press. And Microsoft defends the censorship of the press and tells people to watch their own, uncensored, I guess, press outlet. Prime Minister Mark Carney dismissed concerns over Bill C-18's restriction on sharing news on social media, promoting the Liberal-funded CBC as the primary news source. Of course. Like, look, if something is false and CBC reports on it, it becomes true. Like CBC never in its entire history has ever misled. They have absolutely no agenda. The people that they hire there are not human because, like, human beings have biases and stuff. But the ones at CBC are beyond humans. They transcend humanity by being journalists, right? Like, when you become a journalist, you shed your mortal coil and you become like this objective entity with a deep passion of exposing government corruption, holding politicians accountable, speaking truth to power. You're pretty much like Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And so, like, why should people watch the internet for other news? Like, you shouldn't. And of course, like CBC, you know, they don't get their news from the internet. They just know. Like, if something happens, the journalist at CBC is aware. And he immediately has the ability to report it in the most objective and informative manner without ever lying, because this is what Carney is implying. And if Carney is implying, well, it's the direct message from God. Right? Like, government is God, government is daddy, and Carney is the avatar. Prime Minister Mark Carney dismissed concerns. During August the 5 press conference in British Columbia, Carney disregarded concerns that Bill C-18 limits Canadians' ability to share news online, especially during the crisis situations such as wildfires. Instead, he declared that Canadians should get their news from the Liberal-funded CBC, right? So, like, if there's a fire, turn on the news. Like, why would you go to WhatsApp and talk with other people or on Twitter? And by the way, can you imagine this? I can imagine this. Like, you're in a wildfire, right? Like the fire is burning. You have the people of Gotham chanting Deshi, Deshi, Basara, Basara, right? Like as the entire wood is burning, and they're like, finally, we can blame it on environmentalism. So you're about to be a victim of environmentalism, and all of a sudden, you go on Twitter to see, it's like, is my house in danger? And you want to see the wildfire, and it's like, you need to dox yourself. You're not over the age of 18, because it's violence, right? Like, kids shouldn't see violence. And so, there is no moral justification for that. So if you go there, it's like, oh, you need to age verify to see if your house is in danger or not. Dox yourself. Dox yourself. Carney said dox yourself. If Carney said dox yourself, that's what you need to do. Enrich the third-party corporation that does the age verification, right? Like, your life on planet Earth is to make that company rich. One of the roles of CBC Radio Canada is to provide unbiased, immediate local information. See? Exactly. Like, why do you need thousands of voices? Why do you need, like, opinions from different people where you can be led astray when you have, like, one voice, one God, and Carney? That's one of the reasons why we've made the commitment to invest and reinforce. Right? Like, isn't this an interesting thing, right? So, like, the government has made a commitment to pay for media. And the people have to watch that media. So let me get this straight, right? Like, the government, the establishment, which has to be re-elected every 4 years to keep their jobs, right? Like, if by some miracle they don't get re-elected, they don't get paid. So there's like a financial interest there, at the very least. And those people with a financial interest are spending taxpayer money on the media, and they're pretty much saying, it's like, look, our media is the only good one. You shouldn't listen to other people. Do you know what this is called? A cult. A cult. Yeah, no, like, well, what does a cult do? What does Scientology do? Well, they tell you to stop listening to other people. They're suppressive people, right? And you should only listen to their information. And this is very similar here. It's like the government is basically saying, yeah, we're censoring everyone, and you shouldn't care about it, because at the end of the day, we're funding this program. We're funding CBC, Radio Canada, right? Like, get your news from the radio, bigot. So yeah, at least we're keeping the kids safe, I guess. You know, like Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia are going to be the safest nations on Earth. They're going to be overflowing with so much safety that even people from outside those nations are going to have to benefit. Microsoft did part-own a news corporation. MSNBC was originally a joint venture between Microsoft and NBC. Get the fuck out. Yeah, okay, so, but it's even more than that, right? Like, this is a joint venture. But imagine if you have, like, a network that's fully funded by Microsoft, right? So, like, you'd have something that explicitly, like, gets a lot of money from Microsoft. Like, without Microsoft, they wouldn't exist, basically, right? And so, then you have Microsoft saying, yeah, we're going to push for censoring everything, except that news source. Get your information from there. It's fine if Australian politicians don't get re-elected. They have a cushy pension. Yeah, but, like, you can even make more money, you know? Like, there's something about people that no amount of cash is enough. Like, at some point, it becomes like an e-penis. It becomes like a score in life. The more money you have, the better. And so people aren't happy with just, oh, yeah, I got a pension and it's fine. Like, no, they want more. And on top of that, they also want the power and the prestige, right? Like, it looks bad if you lose elections. They don't want to lose elections. So they don't want you to be misinformed. Smash JT gave me a shout-out on this morning stream. What did Smash JT said? And thank you, Five Nights. I really appreciate it. What did Smash JT say about me? I find Smash JT to be absolutely fascinating and quite interesting. So, for a YouTube channel, Smash JT is kind of small. Like, he is pretty small. He got, what, less than 200,000 or less than 100,000 subscribers. And yet he gets lawsuits and threats from other people. Like, everyone picks on him. I don't fucking know why. Like, he seems to attract the worst rogue gallery on the internet. And there's no justification for it. Like, there are other people bigger than him, louder than him, more offensive than him. And he's not that fucking offensive. And yet everyone is going after him. And I'm like, why though? You know, like every single time someone is aggroed on the internet, you're going to see that their ire is directed to smash JT. Anyway, I got a message from Lazy Cat. I think your theory, V, of prolonged education period affect the birth rate might be the bigger factor than feminism. Even though China and Korea also have feminism problem, I think delay marriage age is bigger factor throughout developed countries because of the same don't have bad feminism problem. Yeah, so like I have a very controversial theory, which a lot of people don't like, especially from the West. And the reason that they don't like is because they can't debunk it. And the problem is, like, I would love to someone to debunk it, because if it's true, it's quite sad. Like, I don't want this theory to be true. I don't want this situation to be the case. But unfortunately, I'm looking at various countries and I'm looking at history, and the answer is like, no, this is what it is, V. And so my theory is about the birth rates, right? Because like everyone is noticing birth rates are going down. And they're really upset about it, and they're like, how do we fix it? And currently the solution seems to be to ban pornography, right? Like if you ban pornography, all of a sudden people go out there and they have a lot of kids. And to me it's a little bit weird, because like the gooners that I know, myself included, we also have kids, right? Like Elon Musk watches pornography and he has like 10 or 12 kids. And then you look at porn actors and you look at people that actually do porn, they have kids. Right? So, like, my thought is, all right, well, maybe this is ideological. Maybe this is, like, some people that generally don't like porn, and they're using this as an outlet to justify having birth rates. Like, could there be another reason? Could there be another reason why birth rates are low? And so, what I found, by looking at societies before ours, you know, looking at America in the 90s, looking at Europe in the 90s, and looking at nations today that have high birth rates, and I was like, okay, well, what do they have and we don't? Like, there must be something that Somalia, for instance, doesn't have that we do, right? Like, what is it? And some people said feminism. And I was like, okay, feminism, but like, back in the days in the 90s, right? Like, there were countries where women had rights and they could vote, and yet the birth rates were still up. And so, like, maybe this doesn't fully explain it. Like, maybe it's a part of the problem. But, like, maybe it still is something else that people aren't looking for. And I genuinely thought about it. And the thing that I came up with, and again, like, I wish this wasn't true, and I wish it would be debunked. But this is consistent across all societies at all time. And the thing that I found out is teenage pregnancies. Like, every society that allows for teenage pregnancies and don't shame them, don't try to suppress them, right? Like, and I'm not saying like a 45-year-old man marrying a teen. No, like I'm saying like two teenagers marrying, right? Like, teenage pregnancies seem to be the reason on why you have low birth rates. Because, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it, right? Like, why is our society not having teenage pregnancies now, but it used to have back in the day? And the answer is education. Back in the day, like, you would go to a school and you finish school, and then you go to high school and you finish it, and that's it, right? You are expected to get a job and you're expected to become a man. And so by the age of 16, by the age of 17, most people were married and they started having children. And so if you think about it from that point of view, if you have a person that has to go through university and then maybe gets a PhD and then maybe gets a job and they get married at 35, at 35-year-old, the kid is going to have an increased risk of autism, is going to have an increased risk of other genetical illnesses, but more importantly, the mindset of a 35-year-old is completely different than that of a 20-year-old. For a 35-year-old, he's going to start thinking, okay, if I have a kid now, how do I pay my mortgage? Can I actually have the money to put him through university? Do I have the energy required? Do I have the energy required to hear him scream every single night? And a 35-year-old is going to make a completely different decision than someone that's 18, right? And they're going to be like, okay, well, we have a kid now. That's great, you know, like, it's fun. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, teenagers are more likely to take risks. They're the type of people that go mountain climbing, cave diving, scuba diving, extreme skateboarding. Like, they're the type of people that are willingly to take risks without thinking about the consequences. And so, looking at what I discovered, I'm waiting for someone to debunk my claim, to say, no, V, that's not true. Like, here's a nation that has teenage pregnancies and is not the solution, right? Like, they still have declining birth rates. But from what I've noticed, it's like the more educated people are, the more less likely they are to have birth rates. And this is the same reason why the immigrants, right? Like the immigrants, you got people from Somalia coming to the United Kingdom, and in 2 generations, their birth rates just go down. It's because in 2 generations, their offsprings get placed in the educational system. And so they end up, like they go to school, they go to high school, they go to university. It's all about getting good grades. It's all about like constantly showing up, constantly, because the thing with the education, like, why is it worse than a job? It's worse than a job because at least on a job, you wake up, you go to the workplace, you sit in the wage cage, you do your job, and then you come home. But when you are at an education, you're at the university, you go there, you sit there, and then you come home and you have to study and you have to do your homework, you have to do your projects for the next day. Like, your entire day is ruined. Anyway, right. As far as monocausal go, age at first birth is a very solid predictor. You just need to get women out of the workforce. Yeah, but like, can you imagine though? So like, you're saying that my wife shouldn't actually earn an income? Like, that would be disastrous for my household. And like, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, but look, if women don't go to the workplace, wages would increase. No, they wouldn't. They would either get AI or they would get more immigrants. Right? So, like, unless... now, if you're basically saying, well, we need to reverse society to the way it was, it's like... kind of, but like back then people didn't have technology, right? Like, it's really difficult to like, some of the technology is so destabilizing for mankind that, like, trying to revert to how things used to be is impossible, right? Like, for instance, why was monarchy a thing? Well, monarchy was because you have like 90% of the people having less rights than the aristocracy, right? And the question is, like, why would anyone put up with that? Like, makes no fucking sense. Well, the reason they put up with that is because it was extremely expensive to have a book. Like, vellum was insanely expensive. A book was pretty much as expensive as a Ferrari. And so the only people that had access to that wealth, to literacy, were the nobility and the clergy. And they would put this conspiracy theory in the entire minds of the public that the king is divinely ordained. Like, God himself placed the king in your country. So everything that the king says is kind of like divinely ordained. It's kind of like coming from a saint. And so people couldn't even perceive the concept of rebelling because they would think God is going after them. But the moment the printing press is invented, the moment paper is cheap, and now everyone can read, the entire system starts to buckle, right? You would not be able to have a monarchy in the age of the internet. This is why even King Jong-un doesn't allow, like, freedom of access for his people, because you need to create the mythos, right? And so, talking about, like, women having rights to vote and stuff, you live in a society with social media, right? You live in a society with airplanes that can fly from one place to another within an hour. Like, you cannot use an ideology from the past and try to fit it in today's world where you have all this access. Anyway, right. Striped animal skin, yes. You don't need women in the workforce? No, but I need my woman to make money so that I can have a living wage in my house, robot. Right? Like, if you like to be poor, that's on you. I personally have a kid, right? Like, the household needs 2 incomes. You're literally arguing for half of my funding to go away. You're trying to defund me, motherfucker. I don't understand the mindset. It's like, oh yes, V, it is in your interest that your wife doesn't work, so that there is less money in your household. And I'm like, but why, robot? Why are you saying that? So you can have more children, V. So that the government can take money from your children and give them to me when I'm old. Who's going to pay my pension, V, when I'm old? And it's like, well, get your own fucking kids then. Prick. Anyway, right. Kids need 24/7 attention. Yeah, they do. That's why you have grandparents. Do you notice, like, no one talks about grandparents anymore? Like, when I grew up, the concept of grandparents was something wholesome, right? Like, everyone talked pleasantly about their mima and their papa. It's because, like, grandparents were involved in the raising of children. Do you know why I think grandparents aren't involved in the raising of kids anymore? Because they're boomers. Because they're boomers. Like, the boomer generations have failed humanity. Like, line goes up, GDP goes up, and then you have, like, these boomers like Bill Gates with the mentality, it's like, I'm not going to leave my inheritance to my children. I'm going to donate it to some charity. It's like, what the fuck? You know what? Why, though? Like, your children are your legacy, you know? Imagine Tywin Lannister saying, yeah, I'm going to donate Casterly Rock. You know, fuck Jaime. Fuck Jaime and fuck Tyrion and fuck Cersei. I'm going to donate Casterly Rock. Anyway, right. Props to Madame Savi for getting noticed by a Japanese politician. Hey! I got noticed by the same politician. I have access to his DMs. Who also watched her videos. I don't think he watches mine, though. I'll have to tell him. And thank you for the donation again. You asked me to raise birth rates. But I don't think, like, you would raise birth rates. Because, like, I definitely would not have a kid at my age. Because, like, again, I'm part of the education system, right? And I did 2 universities. And when I had my kid, I was 39. And so, I would have never had my kid if my wife had no income. Like, absolutely not. Slixion Doppelganger, thank you for the $2. How black-pilled is this stream going to make me? I don't know. Depends. Like, what are your expectations? To be fair, I think Tywin would have donated Casterly Rock if it was just Tyrion. I don't think so, because he actually makes Tyrion the hand of the king for a while, right? Like, if he's left with literally no options. Like, the man is obsessed with legacy, right? And he doesn't want his legacy to be a dwarf. But, like, if he was to be left with literally no options, right? Like, if Jaime was to be taken from him, if Cersei was gone, and the only thing he had left was Tyrion, from what is written in the show, he would definitely swallow his pride and just go with Tyrion. And there are, like, parts in the books where he's actually thinking about that when Jaime is held by the Starks. And he actually does contemplate for a little while, like, what would happen if Jaime doesn't come back. And he actually does say, yeah, like, I would have to... Like, it would be extremely painful for him. It would be probably the most disgusting thing that he would ever do. But, like, he would do it for the house. It's really interesting. Like, the way George R.R. Martin wrote the characters, right? Like, they have very human desires. Unfortunately, we will never see the next volumes, the next books. But it is what it is. You are not Utsukushi Navi. Alright, let's Utsukushify myself and see if we can talk about something else. YouTube banned for people under 16 in Australia. Again, there are certain nations that I'm starting to really dislike, man. And the reason I'm disliking them, like up until now, the reason I would dislike a nation is because it was a bad place to live, right? And so if I'm looking at a nation and I'm like, wow, like that's so fucked up. Like, imagine living there. I would say, yeah, I don't like that place. You know, like Donald Trump used to say, a shithole. Obviously, not everyone has to share my opinions. You know, like the nations that I don't like living in are probably really good places for other people that enjoy what I don't like. But the nations that I'm talking about are as follows. Number 1, Germany. I don't like Germany because of how it treated people during the pandemic. Number 2, Austria. I don't like Austria because during the pandemic measures, the president was actually caught going to a bar. And when being caught, he said, well, I'll just pay the fine because I'm equal like everyone else. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, you're not equal like everyone else. Everyone else has to stay home and stay safe. They can't make money, right? Like, you're against them making an honest wage. While you are out there making taxpayer money hand over fist. So, like, for you, paying a fine is nothing. For someone whose income has been canceled, it's a lot. Okay, so Germany, Austria, Russia. I don't like Russia. Same reason. Very authoritarian. Like, it has one way of showing itself to the world. It has, like, some beautiful cities. Like, Moscow and, what do they call it? St. Petersburg, right? Like, it's got a couple of cities that are really nice, and that's the advertisement. And then you see a Russian rural village without water, gas, or even plumbing. And you understand, oh, shit, so that's, like, the other Russia. And it's also, like, the crackdowns and stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know, if you're going to be authoritarian, at least be authoritarian properly, like the Chinese. Yeah, like, the Chinese at least have skyscrapers, drones, and robots. And it's like, okay, well, I'm giving up my liberty, and at least I'm getting something from it. I get a nice futuristic cyberpunk-like city when I look down the window, compared to Russia, where you see the tundra. But anyway, right, so I don't like Russia. I don't like Germany. I don't like Austria. I really, really am starting to dislike the United Kingdom. Like, it's a nation that can pollute the mind of the fellow man. I'm looking at Sargon of Akkad. He's pro-censorship. The only entity that I can blame is the British government. Like, I'm looking at the British government and I'm looking at Sargon. It's like, look how they massacred my boy. Look how they massacred my boy. He goes online. It's like, ban this, ban that, ban. And it's like, So really, really evil place. It's demonic, I would say. Fucking demonic. They're the ones with the online safety bill, and the way they behave during the pandemic. Oh, Dios mío. Then I don't like Australia, right? Like also like the way it behaved during the pandemic. It almost went full-on internment camps. Like they had like entire areas built with tiny houses, like for people to stay there if they're not healthy. And like you start to notice a pattern, and the pattern is like, how did your nation behave during the Great Pandemic? If your nation behaved during the Great Pandemic just by, like Romania did, which is still really bad, like you had to show papers every time you left your house, you had to show papers when you wanted to go to a McDonald's. However, it was kind of the norm, right? Because like we're putting it in context. Like, I'm not looking for the utopia, right? Like the one nation that was against the flow. No, but like, compared to others, it's still okay, right? Because, like, the police officers, they didn't really enforce things. Like, they look the other way. All right. But, like, Australia, Dios mío. Dios mío. It was a joke. It's like, well, it's a prison colony. Yeah, and a prison colony, like, many of them are not just descendants of prisoners. They're also descendants of jailers. Sargon going full on Horus with distributors being Erebus. No, I think that the British government has mind fucked him. Like there is no other explanation. Why a man that was pretty much from my generation, and he was like, never censor anything, never ban anything, blah blah blah, and now he's going like, we have to ban, and he's using the worst word in the English language, like the most vile, the most repugnant word that there is. We have to. It's like, can you get my mother out of your mouth, right? Like, stop talking about my mom, because my mom isn't we. Like, when you say we, it implies we the people. My mother is part of the people. Like, can you at least say we without V's mother, right? Like, be a little bit more accurate. In Russia, you also had to have the Fauci ouchie, or you couldn't get legally a job. Yeah, no, it's but like I don't even know if that was like part of the norm, because again, like there were certain things like shutting down businesses and telling people to stay indoors, which happened internationally. And if it happened internationally, like, well, my expectations adjust, right? Like my expectations adjust to the current political context. If something is happening internationally and then I have to judge nations, like I'm not saying evil shouldn't exist. I'm like, how much evil is too much, right? And it's like, okay, well, all the nations have told people to stay indoors, and all the nations have encouraged people to vaccinate, and all the nations did this and this and that, all right? Which one of the nations did a lot more than the minimum evil that was happening simultaneously in all countries? And when you ask that question, the answer is Australia, the United Kingdom, Germany, and I think Austria. Oh, Canada. Canada was also an interesting place, right? So, like, Canada, you had Justin Trudeau. At the time, he was prime minister. And Justin Trudeau came up before the holiest celebration in Christendom, Easter. And he was telling people how they need to be inventive this Easter, because people are getting sick. So what they need to do is to have Zoom calls. You need to celebrate Easter with Zoom calls. Just put a tablet on the dinner table. And on the other side, you can have another dinner table, and people can be over there. And, you can be alone in your house while also together with your family through the magic of Zoom. And then, you know what he did after this rallying speech, after coming up with so many solutions? Well, what he did is he got his entire security detail and he went half across the nation to visit his relatives, right? Like, for some reason, Zoom wasn't good enough for him, and I guess, like, his entire security detail didn't have the possibility of getting sick. Artemis Fowl. Oh my goodness, he's here. How much to take more of the Fauci ouchies? Well, I think like they may be difficult to get, right? Like, didn't Trump sign an executive order, or not Trump? RFK, right? Didn't RFK actually came out and said that he's not going to authorize mRNA vaccines? Like, I'm going to have to look through it, right? Like, this may be misinformation. I'm going to have to check. But from what I'm noticing, yeah, they may be actually difficult to get in the foreseeable future. So even if you were to pay me, like, unless you have one, unless you have like the vaccine that was saved. But yeah, no, of course, there's a price for everything. $5 million, I would definitely take the vaccine. I'll be, you know what, fuck it. If I die, the money goes to my kids. If I don't die, then that's fine. Yeah, for $5 million, I would take the Fauci ouchie. No problem. Sure. Why not? Yeah, you can have collectible vaccines. I'm actually curious, though, like, if there's a doctor that probably saved one. Because it's kind of difficult. Because, like, you need to write it down, right? Like, you need to write down how many you got, how many you... Oh, the only possibility that a doctor kept one is if they vaccinated people by the sink. Like, this was a national sport in Romania. You would know your family doctor. You'd bring him a pack of coffee, like you do in Eastern Europe. Like the thing with the pack of coffee, by the way, holy shit. Okay, so I'll tell you something. Bribery in Eastern Europe, okay? How do you bribe in Eastern Europe? Well, first, like, how do you bribe in Western Europe? Say I want to bribe Artemis Fowl, right? Like, I want Artemis Fowl to see things my way. Well, Artemis Fowl probably has, like, a consultant company. Not run by him, of course, but either by his friends or by his family members. And his consultant company is very expensive for what it does, right? Like, it costs, like, $20,000 to consult my YouTube channel. And so I go there and I hire his consultant company. And I'm like, all right, well, tell me what's wrong with my YouTube channel. And they'll tell me something that I already know. But now Artemis Fowl, all of a sudden, he's going to be nice to me. All of a sudden, anything I ask, the door is wide open. Right? So that's how corruption works in the West. How does corruption works here? Well, here the corruption is open source. You take a pack of coffee or some candy or some shit, and you literally just give it to the secretary, to the doctor, to like whatever. And all of a sudden, doors open. Now, here's the interesting part. Why is it a pack of coffee? Because now a pack of coffee is really cheap. Right? Like, why exactly? Well, apparently it's habit, right? Because during communism, there were artificial shortages. Like, they would just refuse to import or produce. And so you would go to the store and you'd never find coffee. But, like, every now and then, someone that was, like, a captain of a boat or someone that would leave Romania, as a business thing, and they would come back and they would bring coffee. And so, like, when they wanted a favor, they would give that pack of coffee. Now, the person that received it, like, he wouldn't consume it. He would also use it to gain a favor from another person. It became like a second-hand currency. It became like crypto, if you want. Like, the coffee was the crypto coin of Romania. Untraceable by the government, opening a lot of doors and funding the black market. And so it was like the pack of coffee, the canned cigarettes, and what was the third? Whiskey. Yeah, whiskey, pack of coffee, and the canned cigarette. Kind of like Path of Exile consumables, if you will. Right? Like, Path of Exile was a video game that wanted to fight against gold miners. Like, Chinese gold farmers. They were a problem back then. And they were like, you know what if we don't have gold in the game? What if we just have items that are consumables and people trade those? And so that's pretty much the Soviet system. Kind of like cigarettes in prison. Yeah, like cigarettes in prison are a better example. Like, you don't necessarily have to smoke the cigarette. You can keep it and then pass it on. Yeah. And so, while that thing faded, right, like, we do have coffee now, apparently, like, the impulse remained. So, like, bringing the coffee to another person is considered an acceptable way of opening doors. Take up smoking in prison? I think that's such a fucking bad idea, isn't it? I got better student loans from the loan officer simply because I bought coffee and chocolate. It works. Yes. Yes, Well, I mean, it depends what you're asking for, and it depends like the rank of the person, right? Because if you go to a politician with a pack of coffee, he's going to spit on you and show you the door, right? Like to a politician, you go with a box of candy and $50,000 inside, right? Like that's how you operate things. Like you give him candy, and instead the candy, there's cash. But if you're going to the secretary, like the first gate, to be fair, it's very similar to how it worked in the Ottoman Empire. Like the Ottoman Empire was really big on bribes, and it's literally how it works. Like you had to bribe even the palace guard. Everyone had to be bribed. Peşkeş, I think they called it, which is still in Romanian language. Yeah, peşkeş. You have this thing where you sometimes reverse engineer normal human behavior with an unnecessary cynical interpretation. Well, if it's normal human behavior, why don't we see it in Britain? Why don't we see it in Canada? Why don't we see it in the United States, right? If it's normal human behavior, they're not human. Like, normal human behavior is not to give a pack of coffee when you go to an institution, right? Like, normal human behavior is to give a pack of coffee to your mother, to your father, to the people that you know, right? You're not giving a pack of coffee for someone for doing their job. Like, what's next? Give a pack of coffee to your hairstylist? Right? If it's normal human behavior, why don't we give coffee to our hairstylists? Don't you appreciate their job? People give gifts and tips in America. No, people give tips in America and give gifts to people they know. They don't give gifts to strangers. America's in the chat. Please correct this gentleman. He's making errors. He believes that you guys, when you go to the bank, or no, actually, when you go to the doctor's office, you bring a pack of cigarettes and a pack of coffee. Is that something that you do, Americans? No, seriously, like, legit question. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, now's the chance for Robot to BTFO me. He will show me the error of my ways. Do Americans give gifts when you're asking for a favor? Like, when you go to the DMV and you need something done faster, right? Like, you need your paperwork done faster. Do you bring gifts? Yeah, I'm not talking about tips. Tips are different. Like, I'm talking about, like, literally a pack of coffee. Yeah, I know you tip waiters. No, I'm asking, like, do you bring a pack of coffee to the nurse? Like, if you're in a hospital, right, and you need a nurse to wipe your ass, do you give her a pack of coffee? Or do you give her, like, some cigarettes? Or do you give her, like, a bottle of whiskey, a scotch? I see. See, you're not human according to Tactical Droid, because, like, giving coffee is a human thing, right? And so if you're not doing it, you're not human. If it's literal money, it's more bribery. No. According to our legislation, by the way, according to our law, even giving coffee is called a bribe. Like, it's literally anything that you're giving for a person to fulfill an obligation that they're already obligated to fulfill. So if they're working for the public, if it's a public doctor, you're already paying taxes for that doctor, right? So, like, if you're giving anything extra, even flowers. Now, the only question is, like, how is the law interpreted? Like, are the prosecutors really that mental to interpret the law? No. Like, they're not going to go that extreme. But usually, like, yeah, if a nurse, like, constantly receives coffee every single fucking day from different patients, like, she can fence it or give it to other people. Anyway, it's not a gift if you get discriminated for not gifting. But what happens if the mentality, the culture, is that you will get discriminated for not giving, even if it's not true? Anyway, right, let's look at Australia, because they also have a gift to give.
Deputy President, now, the government's sudden decision to include YouTube in its social media ban for under-16s is a textbook case of panic-driven policy, not principle. It's a backflip so hard and fast it should come with a neck brace. And make no mistake, this just won't cost them the youth vote. It'll cost them votes across the board, in my opinion. Now, YouTube is a platform for learning, creativity and free expression, everything that the government should be supporting. By slapping a ban on YouTube for under-16s, which is what this is, this government is sending a clear message to young Australians: we don't trust you, we'll decide what you're allowed to watch. Now, everyone wants to protect kids online, but let's be honest, this isn't solely about protection. It's also about control. This ban, it triggers mandatory ID verification for all ages, and it opens the door to full-blown surveillance of every single Australian. Now, bureaucrats have no business micromanaging our digital lives, and parents should have the right to raise their own children and not have the government make these decisions for them. Now, this government's digital nanny state is growing by the day, but this ban is not going to make kids any safer. It is just going to make them more angry. And when they're old enough to vote, they are going to remember which party treated them like chumps for daring to try and watch YouTube of all things.
I think that is a little bit too optimistic. I think that he has really high hopes that the electorate is actually going to vote in an informed manner. The reality is this. Most young people don't vote. Like, if you look at the voting rates, it's usually the elderly that vote. But the second thing, I believe that kids are going to be the ones that find ways and workarounds around the age verification system. Like they already did. They're using Getty's mod characters in order to bypass that. And so they're not really going to be that affected by that shit. The only people getting affected are the ones that are doxing themselves, right? Which are the adults. Because for an adult, if you have to choose between doxing yourself or just showing ID, like many people are just going to be way too comfortable, open their wallet and show ID. And so the biggest winner here is not just the government, but it's the companies that do this facial scanning, the companies that actually do the whole security thing for your private information. And so, no, I don't think like kids will be upset. Especially because a lot of kids are in favor of tyranny, right? Like they grew up with the woke ideology, the woke mindset, and they're like collective thinking, right? We need to, we must, we should protect, ban, ban, ban. So like they're not against banning. It's like just what would you ban, right? Like what do you ban next? That's how they view it. But I think like the only reason that this will backlash and like when actually you will see people being against this is when grandma's private information is going to be leaked to the public. Like when they're actually going to have a security leak, and it's not just going to be people's credit cards or account information and passwords that leak, but like people's actual, you know, government IDs and licenses and stuff, and identity theft is going to skyrocket. That's when people are going to get upset. But by then, will they still manage to link which are the people that fucked them over? Probably not. What they will do is that they're going to try to repeal the law, but not necessarily repeal it in the sense of get rid of it altogether, but like just make amendments to it. Yeah, maybe it's a good thing to filter out boomers. Well, they will filter themselves, but unfortunately the damage that is done is going to be pretty colossal. Like, I think probably not even the next generation of kids will fix it, but their grandchildren. Right, like they're because like if you look at history, you have like periods of maximum control, followed by periods of collapse. Like this is almost true for every single society. Like you have like a rising period, a golden age, if you will, followed by like maximum periods of control and suppression, and after that you have the collapse. And so yeah, we're probably reaching that the maximum control level. And it's not just happening with the internet. Like, that's another thing. You know, I looked at the banking system. It's everywhere. Like, everything is starting to get locked down by technology, by AI. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future you're going to have a robot in your house that's like a butler. You know, like making you food, cleaning the dishes, and, you know, doing all the household chores. But it's also going to be a virtual spyware machine. Like, it has to see in order to operate, right? So, like, it will be able to see in your home. And more importantly, it's going to be connected to a cloud. And so if you probably say something naughty in your home, well, the robot can hear it, uploads it, flags it. Probably doesn't chip out on the moment, but like you're going to have like a little file with everything that you do. And if your kid one day wants to become a governor, if he wants to become a judge or anything of importance, well, he's got a file. that can be leaked to the press, that can humiliate them. It's how they did it in the Soviet Union. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it now. Like, if something works, why fix it? Don't let your robot connect to the internet. I don't think you'll have a choice, though, right? Because, like, it will need the internet. It will need the cloud for the computational power. And so, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But definitely, yes, like, if there's an option to not connect your robot to the cloud and not have it connect to the internet, like, obviously you should take it. Open source everything, run it locally. It depends how it works, right? Because, like, if it needs the cloud for computational power, like, it needs to connect to a supercomputer that does a lot of calculations, like, you may not have the energy or the money to run it locally. Sure, like, eventually people will definitely find solutions, like running it locally. Like, it's possible, yes. You would not like that. Well, like, let me tell you something else. It doesn't even need to be a robot that actually does your housework. I've seen, like, toys, like a little robot that was made for kids, and the thing was, like, walking around. It was integrated with ChatGPT. It could talk to your kid, and it know when to stop so it doesn't fall from a desk, or it doesn't fall down the stairs, right? Like, it had sensors. And it literally knew when to stop. And the thing is, like, okay, great, now I have another spyware in my house. Like, you buy that toy for your kid, and everything in your house gets scanned, right? Another example, those Roomba vacuum cleaners, right? Like, those vacuum cleaners also require sensors in order to map your house and know how to clean it. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure that in the future you'll have a new model that's connected to the internet. Because, like, that's the trend now. Like, everything gets connected to the internet. Everything is a smart house. Everything is smart this, smart that. And then you have, like, all these legislations that force companies to allow the government to have back doors, right? So, like, WhatsApp is forced to do that. Telegram is forced to do that. Like, they want to get rid of any type of encryption. I am using ChatGPT guide, local AI installation. Is that actually good? Like, using a local AI ChatGPT? Internet is just for first updates, which I do not want. Well, yeah, like, I used to make that a joke. What do we say to the god of update? Not today. But, man, I'm looking at what's happening with Windows 11. Like, this is the tragedy of our generation, where even the operating system becomes spyware. So for those of you who don't know, there's a new Windows coming out. It's called Windows 11. It's a really bad piece of software, in my opinion, and the opinion of others. If you're even remotely worried about privacy. Like, one of the things that it does is having a feature that nobody asked for, which constantly screenshots what you're looking at, right? So, like, you're browsing the internet, just screenshot. And apparently the feature is called recall. It's so that you can ask the Microsoft 11 AI, and yes, it comes with an AI, and you can ask it, where did I see the brown purse? And it shows you the file, right, when your screen was at the brown purse. Now, the obvious problem with this is, like, what happens if you have, like, something on your computer that's NDA? Like, say you're working on a video game or on a movie, and you have, like, some NDA stuff, right? Like, is that getting screenshotted? The answer is yes. What happens if you have a credit card, right? Like, you're trying to dox yourself to access Twitter, and you're showing the credit card in order to have it scanned, and it's on your screen. Does it screenshot it? Yes. Your ID? Yep. Medical records? Absolutely. Okay, so basically, people don't like this, because the question is, like, well, where is the data getting stored? And they say it's locally, right? So you gotta trust them. But, like, what happens if a hacker manages to get that? Well, it manages to get it. Anyway, right, so people don't like that, and a lot of people were like, well, I'm not installing Windows 11 with that shit. And so what Microsoft is doing is they're basically telling people, yeah, well, we're going to stop supporting Microsoft 10. You gotta upgrade. Like, upgrading is free, and that's like a big alarm bell, right? Like, upgrading is free. Like, what company gives its flagship product for free? Like, why would they do that? Why would they allow you to upgrade for free? Like, obviously they're making money some other way, right? And so anyway, people were upset because, like, The argument is, well, do they have to support Windows 10 forever? It's like, no, not forever, but at least not stop supporting it like the moment the new shit comes out, right? And they're getting sued because of that. Like, someone is suing them in California. California man is suing their ass. And people say try Linux. Like, look, it's not about me, because I know how to protect myself. That's not the issue. But like, what is the percentage of the population that's going to try Linux, right? Like, the question is, like, is Microsoft getting to get away with it, right? Like, is it going to normalize? Because if it's normalized, like, at some point, you're going to notice that even Linux is going to be difficult. And so, it's like the same people, like, just use a VPN, just use a VPN. And it's like, okay, and at some point, like, the government finds a way to fuck with you. And you're going on YouTube, and YouTube is saying, we detected that you have a VPN. You need to turn it off. Right? It's kind of like that. It's the cultural aspect that I'm worried about, like the masses. It's not like because I don't know how to install a Linux. Of course I do. It's not the issue. You think my grandma does? You think my grandma is gonna be on Linux? They should have an AI and a non-AI version of 11. Well, technically they say that you can just shut things down, right? So, like, if you're interested in privacy, like, you can go in settings and you can do a lot of modifications, but do you trust them? Like, do you trust a company that uses these underhanded tactics in order to persuade you to get the product that you may not want? Yeah, sure, Linux is open source, but, like, what happens if a lot of the new programs that come up, like, they make deals with Microsoft and they make it on purpose to be incompatible with Linux? Like, there are solutions, you know? Well, one of the solutions that I was shocked, it's like, okay, what do they do with offline AI? Because, like, that's going to be a thing in the future, right? Like, the government is all obsessed with AI safety. And it's like, well, what will they do if someone runs offline AI? Like, they can't do anything, right? Surely they can't do anything. Well, no, apparently they're already making laws and they're already talking about it, like, to have business deals with NVIDIA, with the graphics producers, so that at the hardware level, the graphics card only allows AI that's flagged to be allowed, right? So, like, if you're buying a new graphics card and you're trying to run some AI that's not quote-unquote safe, they will simply, like, the graphics card will simply refuse to run that. So, like, when you realize that they're coming up with innovative solutions that I never thought about, they're like, okay, well, if they want to stop something, they probably can. You still have XP? Well, nothing wrong with XP, right? Yeah, you have offline AI now, but, like, if, let's say, the United States was to pass a legislation, and they're like, or the European Union, and they're basically saying, yeah, we need all graphics cards sold in the European Union to have the safety feature, because, like, someone can run an offline AI and they could, cyber with a 17-year-old anime waifu, and that's illegal. So, we need you to make sure that only the AI that we tell you, like a list of vetted AIs, can run on the graphics card. And I guarantee to you, like, the graphics card companies will say yes. Microsoft already sneaks bloatware and rainbow flags onto your desktop. Yeah. It is what it is. Anyway, I don't think, like, this is going to last forever. Like, there's going to be a tipping point where people will be fed up with this shit. And I think it's going to be our grandchildren. Like, imagine the horror of having a childhood in the grandchildren era, right? Like, everything you do is going to be so monitored, so controlled, so filled with safetyism that is going to be absolutely suffocating. And so, like, you're going to have people that are contrarian just because. If enough use Linux, they'll infiltrate that too. Yeah, like, the thing with Linux is that they don't bother with it because, like, people aren't using it. I mean, there are people using it, but it's not a significant percentage for them to care. But, like, if you notice crypto, right? Like, crypto came out and everyone was like, oh, it's anonymous. Like, no one can trace your transactions. The government can't do anything. And now if you want to sell crypto, you got to use ID, right? Like, you need to use a system that verifies who you are. And it's like, all that anonymity is gone. It's like, okay. That will suck, but I'm sure there will be software to bypass that. No, like, sure, like, if you literally want to run offline AI on your computer, you want to go out of your way to do it, like, there will probably be methods if you have connections and you know people, sure. Probably the easiest way to do it would be able to get, like, an old graphics card, but you're going to be limited to what type of AI you can get, so. I think crypto to crypto works, right? But, like, at some point, you need to either, you need to sell it, right? Like, you need to sell it at some point, and that's where you have to use ID. Anyway, right. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on my other channels. Tomorrow, I'll probably have Madame Savi on. Thank you for watching, and take